superhero makes bold claims about the film not yet released, and won't you know still this piece is 3D. Hey folks, MasakoX here. Well, you know this time would come sooner or later. It's time to talk about Dragon Ball superheroes, super possibilities of super plots and heroic stories. Super. And yet somehow it still sounded like, I don't know, Super Saiyan God, Super Saiyan controlled Berserker Knuckles? Until we get anything new, this is going to be the last that we'll talk about the movie in this kind of capacity. Because, quite frankly, there is nothing else left to discuss until we get something else. So let's be done with these jests and get on with the jeets, if he's in this film or not. Which we do not know. Segue. But what we do know is that finally, after our little taster session that we had back in July during San Diego Comic-Con, we have some more details for the new movie. And boy, did the internet bag on it. You may think I'm going to lavish praise on this movie unconditionally, but no. There are things to take from this, and I am nervous about this going forward, about why Toei made this big decision to make this entire movie 3D, albeit with some 2D elements. After all, the rumours were true that it would be the case. This is risky. This could end badly for the company. But I do live in some hope that the final piece will be better than whatever a 30-second trailer can provide to us, but do keep perspective, folks. It's a jungle of opinions out there. But although we're cautious about the whole thing, there are things, particularly in the story department, that do leave us quite optimistic, and actually even excited, despite the animation style being somewhat of a hot-button topic. After all, that makes sense around these parts. Haverock and I do like ourselves a good story, and we can see some little glimmers of hope in it, that it will flesh out the movie into something that isn't just window dressing for a big battle. But we do want a little bit of Barney in there because, hey, this is a Dragon Ball movie. This is Dragon Ball we're talking about here. But let's start from the very beginning, from what we can immediately see in front of our eyes. And if you haven't seen the trailer yet, do give it a look when you can, and see if there are some things that you can spot for yourself that we might have missed. So, we start off with this shadowy organization from the first title card that seems to have something to do with the Red Ribbon Army. Yeah, they have the logo and everything. There is no mistaking about that. But what kind of situation are these goons in after what Goku did to them back in the day? Is it really the Red Ribbon Army? Or did some guy buy what was left of it and make it into something else? A cover company. And then wait, hold up. How did Jiro not know about this and not put a stop to it, or use his tech to make his own androids or something like that? Surely Jiro would have done something. Questions for later though. Maybe he might have been too busy in his cave to notice. And then we have this kid, a short scientist? Kid scientist prodigy future boy? Perhaps. That's not the most Sir-fetched thing going on in the world of Dragon Ball. But in the case of this little Dexter's Lab wannabe, it's hard to figure out who exactly he is when it comes to the echelons of the organization. But what we can understand is that we do see him in a superhero-esque uniform or hoodie, and a proper lab coat as well. It's also worth noting that the "Attention Duelist" driver has a photo with a hero wearing a very similar suit that his character does. Is this a guy a fan of this particular hero, and they met him at a convention, and he wants to be a superhero himself? We shall see. Also worth noting is the fact that this movie is borrowing a lot of minor elements from a pre-existing Dragon Ball Z movie, Bio Broly. Wait, Broly is in the movie, Masako? Oh no, they're not going to turn Broly into that again, are they? Rest assured, we'll get to that in a second, folks. The actual coincidence is that the kid is framed to be some sort of parody of Lord Jaguar, the closest thing we ever got to a Mr. Satan-centric villain in Dragon Ball, from movie 11. And this driver kind of gives me similar vibes to his cousin, Men. Yes, Men was his actual name, look it up. And I think the Dragon team back then were a little low on ideas for this one. Also, did anybody catch the fact that during that stream that the reps in Japan were really talking up the driver? Like, a lot. Like he was going to be a main character or something. That's weird, right? It goes back to the days of mine with the rower. We also have this third individual, who seems to be kinda like Commander Red, but more like something akin to the Path to Power version. A very good movie, by the way, which you should really give a look. It's like the first Dragon Ball arc with updated visuals for the 90s. It's very spicy. But back to the Red Ribbon lot. All three of them could be related somehow, be like some sort of father, son, grandfather dynamic thing. Or maybe they're all brothers, or they're simply recruited by our science boy here, him being the brains of the entire operation. I mean, hey, we have a little brat running reality in the form of Zeno, so anything is possible. But the guy in a purple suit clearly looks like the leader. That's our best guess if we had to pick one out of all of them right now. Then we get to something that got us and a lot of the community guessing. Who are these guys? Well, we have our new boys' identities better understood now. They are referred to as Gamma 1 and Gamma 2. And this is very clever. These names, they've been staring in our faces the entire time. Check their belts. That is pretty much a variation of the symbol for Gamma, not Waluigi. Well, that character's got to go somewhere after Smash rejected him, so... Sorry, too soon? Also, in the actual footage, they have Red Ribbon Army patches, which weren't present in their original sketches delivered to us by Toriyama months ago. Which then makes us think that the real purpose of who they are might be something related to the Red Ribbon Army. But wait, they could also be aliens? Maybe they're aliens recruited by the Red Ribbons to do their dirty work for them. Or are they perhaps this brand new generation of the organization's answer to Jiro's android blueprints from the past? We're not quite sure yet, but we don't think they have anything to do with Jiro's creations specifically. To clarify further, we don't think Jiro's faction has anything to do with these guys. If anything, we would seek some post-Commander Red remnants, like loyal to Commander Red, which I imagine Jiro wasn't. This is separate from the Mad Doctor's vision of the ultimate biomechanical creation. I think, quite frankly, Perfect Cell would be aghast at Gamma's design. Good gracious! You look even more derivative to Freeze than I do! How do you even do that? They also seem to, unsurprisingly given their history, be in the business of observing Goku. But now, they've got other targets too, based on events since Z began, because Pink showed Vegeta here. We also have Boo and Hercule. The champ is sadly though obscured in the trailer, but you can tell that he's there. But all of them seem to be depicted in a rather menacing way, possibly showing them off as villains and manga accurate. And also, it reminds me of GT. Now wait. You know that moment when Goku, Pan and Trunks are on a wanted poster? They're characterized as bad folks with evil expressions. That is how you can change somebody's perception of somebody else. Just draw them with a nasty face and a mean expression. That equals bad to some people that don't know them. That's working here. The Red Ribbon Army lot view the Dragon Team as the enemy. The other things that we know is that Grandpa Piccolo will be training Pan, or at least be a major factor in her becoming a fighter. And one thing is clear from this action, is that Gohan has no qualms about Pan embracing her martial arts heritage, and neither does Videl. So we're not going to be having any Chi-Chi flashbacks here from Gohan. Pan is clearly training, and the best way to do it right now so Gohan can stick to his sweet, sweet conferences is just to get Uncle Piccolo to take some time to lead point for the time being. After all, he lives with Gohan and Videl, or should we say, lived with them. But you already know that is house and mailbox. Maybe we might make a little segment in the future about Piccolo's mailbox. Stay tuned for that. We also have confirmation of characters such as Krillin, Bulma, Dende, and even Korin reappearing, which probably means that Yajirobe will turn up in some shape or form, since he and the cat, they're joined at the hip these days, and are happily joined in matrimony. And yes, in the blink and you'll miss it moment in the trailer, you can actually see Broly training with Goku on Beerus' planet. Not much else to say really. Broly will make a cameo. End of. Sorry to burst your bubble, folks. So, okay, we have all these elements sorted in one place for you. What are the possible storylines that we can glean from all of this information? Here are a few ideas that we have. And before you say anything, this is all for a bit of fun. Don't take us too seriously. Number 1. The Red Ribbon Army wants to cash in on creating superheroes, and Piccolo and Pan are the ones to stop them. A simple premise, you see. Dexter here is being manipulated into working for the Red Ribbon Army for a special project. He's like a freelance scientist almost. Our reckoning is that this boy is a very intelligent one, and an acclaimed scientist that is being headhunted by the Red Ribbon Army, who want to rebrand themselves as a very sweetness and light superhero company. if you're aware of The Boys, you kind of know what we're going for here. You know, an artificial superhero factory, although it would actually be more like a pharmaceutical company or fast food chain in these possible cases as a shadow operation. Who knows? Maybe we will finally learn the origin story behind Captain Chicken here. Maybe they were the ones to create Captain Chicken. Everyone, a moment's applause please for Captain Chicken. A precursor to the wondrous Catopesra from Universe 3. The new Red Ribbon want to solve problems that they had originally created, and they need something that would defeat Earth's strongest villains. Maybe they need samples from the Dragon Team to do so. Maybe it's something similar to 7-3 from the manga. Yep. It would be, though, weird to reference a manga-specific trope, especially since the majority of the fandom won't have a clue who the bot is. But we can't rule out anything right now for this movie, at this time. But if the Gammas are indeed androids, they probably have some otherworldly origin which this science boy had a hand in making, or bringing to life. And if you think that Goku will one-shot the group, you might be surprised. Since Goku, and most likely Vegeta too, are busy out in deep space training, with Broly and maybe Boo is likely to be asleep, the duty of preventing the threat from taking hold on Earth is in the hands of Pan and Mr. Piccolo. We do hope that Gohan will get involved and do something in this scenario, but his lacking presence within the current promotional materials is concerning. But like we said, nothing is set in stone just yet. And of course, remember, Gogeta was pretty well hidden from us in the Broly movie promotion, up until a certain point. We don't think that Broly's appearance will be anything more than a cameo in the training sequence. But there are other options. 2. The boy is the main villain after all. Another theory that could be viable is that the boy is very desperate to become a good guy, like a real superhero. And in the pursuit of that dream, he will stop at nothing to be number one, to achieve his goals. The two men in the car with him in that trailer actually serve him, and the driver had to take a photo with his favourite movie hero for him, as his patsy. This post-age 750 R&R organisation will manipulate the alien Gammas into working for them, telling them some kind of yarn, thinking that they are hunting villains, pulling the space wall over their eyes, leading them into a false story about taking out wrongdoers. In reality, our little megalomaniac is looking for someone who can mentor him, but he's going about it in a forceful manner. So, he's not like a bad guy, but he's going about proceedings in a very bad way that can come across as evil to some individuals. He ends up with Pan being the best candidate for this mentorship, whom he quickly dismisses though for the fact that she's 6, but then gets immediately surprised by her power. At the end of the movie, she teaches him how to be a proper hero, and they reconcile. He decides to drop his evil ways and embraces the heroic persona he originally wanted. Number 3. It's Goku's mystical journey, but with Pan. In a clever way, this movie could be positioning itself to be a retread of Goku's first journey in the original Dragon Ball, but with his granddaughter in the role instead, being the lead. In essence, this will be the 3rd or so time that the first arc of Dragon Ball has been played out in some shape or form. During this brand new adventure, Pan will meet some of the classic characters, or their modern equivalents, just like her grandpa did before her. She will then foil the plans of the Red Ribbon Army as well. Simple initial premise. This can connect to the first 2 ideas we had as well, and what feels so compelling about this particular plotline is that we get a chance to visit some of those characters from old and see what they're up to. If one of the most important pieces of art that they want to show you is Whiskers the Wonder Cat, you know that the original Dragon Ball stuff is going to be important, and that is going to disappoint a lot of people too who didn't grow up with that, and only grew up with Z instead. Oh, by the way, a favourite little litmus test of mine is showing somebody Dragon Ball Super episode 69 and seeing their reaction. Try it yourself. But this premise is cool, because picture this. A return to the classic feel of the Red Ribbon Army instead of the grittier, Giro-orientated one only reinforces our idea. Obviously, the movie will be limited in its format and length, but this might be something like a new version of Path to Power, starring Pan instead, being supported by the likes of Piccolo, Bulma and Krillin. Number 4. A proper passing of the torch in terms of Earth's defenders versus space defenders. The reality in this premise is this. Vegeta and Goku are now always going to be involved with busy space stuff, involving godlike beings and other universal perils. They're not going to have the time or energy to deal with things going on Earth. So, in this particular movie, around about the time of End of Z, we might see perhaps a changing of the guard, the formal changeover of duties. The Saiyans will save the universe whilst the rest of the team can handle Earth. We know that we're technically before the end of Z, albeit almost right on top of it, this being the same year, but we wouldn't be surprised if it was at least addressed in the movie's credits, the 28th tournament. Who knows? Piccolo might be training Pan for the tournament itself. This can give Pan some credibility in becoming a protagonist for her own spin-off, dealing with more grounded threats, as Goku did back in his younger days, while leaving all of the epicness for Goku and Jeets to take care of. That would give us that refresh that the series needs, whilst not getting rid of the icons. A pretty clever move actually, if that's the case. But it won't be free of criticism though, and I can certainly imagine there will be some blowback to this change. But hey, them's the breaks. Can't win them all. And besides, this is all just conjecture here, and a bit of fun guesswork. And that's it. We know that this isn't much, but hey, come on. We're working on 30 seconds or so of a trailer and a few pieces of artwork. We don't want to jump the shark and jump to conclusions here. Anyway, what are your ideas based on what you've seen? Do you think we may be onto something? Or like with the first teaser of the Broly movie, are we completely, totally bonkers? Hey, come on. We didn't even know that it was Broly at the time. Yamoshi, am I right, folks? Well, whatever this may be, you know our opinions, so leave a comment below and let's get this discussion going. And I will see you in the next video. Catch you later!